happen. We are live.
What is up, fight fans, and welcome to MMA Weekly's live coverage of the UFC 281 official weigh-ins from New York City. Just about to get underway in just a couple of minutes. I'm Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. We'll be here for the officials and the ceremonials today, and streaming live tomorrow night on MMA Weekly. Izzy and Pereira, Esparza and Zhang Weili, Chandler, Poirier, Dan Hooker's on there, so many more. It's a big fight card from New York City, Madison Square Garden, the Mecca, and we are thrilled to be teaming up with Pristine Auction on today's coverage of UFC 281. We are giving away, here's how happy we are, and we're so pumped to be working with Pristine Auction again. We are giving away a framed Dustin Poirier autographed print from Pristine Auction. They're the most trusted sports memorabilia auction site. It's not just another picture of Dustin Poirier, by the way. I'll get to that in a minute. It's the most trusted sports memorabilia auction site in the world, which is pristineauction.com with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Auctions on pristineauction.com start at just $1, and each day there are over 1,000 autographed items available, so you win signed autograph signatures at affordable prices. Just last week, a Francis Ngannou glove signed sold for $49. They're happening like that all the time. Our deals like that at pristineauction.com. They have about every fighter you'd want. Paddy the Baddy, Conor McGregor, more on him in a minute, Jon Jones, and so many more. Every item at pristineauction.com comes with a certificate of authenticity from the industry's most reputable authenticators. Upgrade your collection of signed memorabilia today. Get $10 off your first item when you use the code Dustin. Here's your chance to win a framed Dustin Poirier autographed print right after he knocked out Conor McGregor. Conor's in the print as well. Not signed by Conor, of course, being knocked out. But all you have to do is head on over to pristineauction.com, click register on the top of the page, and sign up using the registration code Dustin to be entered in the giveaway. The links will be in the description, and I'll be putting them up throughout the show in the comments. Also, today's coverage of MMA Weekly with the official weigh-ins powered by NordVPN. Listen to me right now when I'm telling you about NordVPN. It's unbelievable. I'm just getting started in the VPN world. I know Scott's done it before. I'm not covering my tracks. I'm not married. I'm not going to P-Hub or any of those other things like that anymore, like married guys need to. We're not turning this into a married guy versus single guy show, but you guys know what the deal is. When you're single, you don't need these things. You don't need to cover your tracks as much online, but what you do need to do is cover your financial tracks.
$114.8.
114.8. The official weight for the champion, Carla Esparza.
Started with official weigh-ins.
Our next fighter to the scale is the former UFC interim lightweight champion, currently ranked number 11 in the world, number 1 in the world. Lightweight featured bout on pay-per-view, Dustin the Diamond Poirier.
Here's Dustin Poirier. They get started right away. We'll finish those commercials in a minute, NordVPN. You guys want to protect yourselves online like Dustin Poirier protects himself in the octagon. Man, he looks upset coming into this fight. He's pissed off. He wants to finish Michael Chandler. He's focused and ready to rock is the Diamond Dustin Poirier.
156, the official weight for Dustin the Diamond Poirier.
156 to Poirier, right on the button. Not a title fight, remember?
All right, next athlete to the scale is the athlete around whom this fight card was built, the undisputed UFC middleweight champion, the last style bender, Israel Adesanya.
Here comes Izzy. Maybe the biggest mental test of his career. Did try to go up and win the 205 title from Blachowicz and failed last year. Now, of course, it's Yuri and Glover. They have the rematch coming up in Vegas.
185, the official weight for the champion, Israel Adesanya.
185 on the dot for Izzy. Of course, that is a title fight. The two title fights at the top of the card.
All right, next fighter to the scale, competing in a prelim in the UFC strawweight division, Silvana Gomez Juarez. One 15.6, the official weight for Silvana Gomez Juarez. All right, next athlete to the scale, competing in the UFC's bantamweight division, Montel Jackson.
On stage, baby, on stage. Gotcha. Thank you, love. You hear me? I
135.8. 135.8, the official weight for Montel Jackson.
Montel Jackson makes it.
That's all right. Five. One. Thank you, baby. Good morning. How are you? Good morning, love.
All right, next fighter to the scale, one half the featured prelim live on ESPN News and E+ in the lightweight division, Renato Moicano.
Renato Moicano coming up.
$155.8. 155.8, the official weight for Renato Moicano. All right, next fighter to weigh in this morning is the former UFC strawweight champion and number 2 ranked contender, Magnum Zhang Weili.
Here comes Zhang Weili, and there goes the DC. I don't want to call it a square. It's a little longer than a square. It's not even on all four sides. Daniel Cormier gets the naming rights to that. There should be a cartoon avatar of DC. I say this all the time. Pushing down the towel with that grin on his face. He should be in there right now. Well, he shouldn't be in there. He should be on there. The outside. Zhang Weili trying to make weight for her title fight against Carla Esparza, trying to get the belt back that she lost to Thug Rose Namajunas, who was dominated by Esparza, who won the belt back after almost a 7-year hiatus as champion. Joanna Jacek started her incredible run by beating Esparza back in 2015. Zhang Weili raising the hands up almost like, help me, let this weight cut be over. Some serious business going on up there in New York. Out there.
114.8.
114.8, the official weight for Zhang Weili, and that means your UFC Women's Strawweight title fight is now official.
Tells you the scales didn't match. She just weighed herself on one in the back. They have two usually. They try to calibrate them so the fighters know they're on weight. And they don't seem like they were all that calibrated because no fighter's going out there and stripping down unless they have to. But it's 0.2 of a pound, too. But Zhang Weili, nevertheless, comfortably making weight for Carla Esparza. I mean, in her defense, I've taken my clothes off at the gym to weigh myself, and it's been more than a pound. So, half of that title fight.
All right, next fighter to weigh in this morning, the 12th ranked UFC flyweight contender, Erin Blanchfield.
145 even.
125, the official weight for Erin Blanchfield. And next athlete to the scale just so happens to be her opponent, the 15th ranked flyweight in the world, Meatball Molly McCann.
Here comes the meatball. Everybody loves the meatball right now.
145.4.
125.4, the official weight for Molly McCann.
So McCann and Blanchfield is official. How about Dominic Reyes making his comeback on this card? I have an interview with him that I did this summer.
Our next fighter to the scale, weighing in for the last time as a UFC fighter, future Hall of Famer, former undisputed lightweight champion, the answer, Frankie Edgar.
What a legend, Frankie Edgar, the former lightweight champ, finishing his career at Bantamweight against Chris Gutierrez. The final fight for Frankie.
135.6, the official weight for Frankie Edgar.
135.6 for Frankie in front of the hometown fans. He's from Toms River, New Jersey, right near, well, Al Leiter's from there, former pitcher for the Mets. They won the Little League World Series years and years
ago. Our next fighter to the scale is the number 5 ranked UFC lightweight contender, former world title challenger, Iron Michael Chandler.
Here comes Chandler, and no one should be allowed to be called Iron Michael. Sorry, no one. It's ridiculous, actually. And I love you, Mike Chandler. I do.
155.8, the official weight for Michael Chandler.
155.8, but you are not Iron Mike. You're not. There's one. There's one Iron Mike. It's like someone else calling themselves the Hulk.
I will stay in lightweight division as we welcome our next fighter, the Steamroller, Matt Frivola.
There's a nickname, the Steamroller, Matt Frivola. At lightweight, taking on Otman Azatar. Kalakevich on this card. How about that?
154.8.
154.8, the official weight for Matt Frivola.
Frivola makes weight.
Wow, thank you.
Oh, yeah. All right, next fighter to the scale is his opponent in that lightweight division, back for the first time in a long time, Otman Azatar.
$155.6.
155.6, the official weight for Otman Azatar.
Up here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Turn left onto Broadway.
All right, next fighter to the scale, charged with kicking off a big night for City Kickboxing in the UFC's light heavyweight division, Carlos Ulberg. 205.2, the official weight for Carlos Holberg.
Get one ready. 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, love.
All right, next fighter to weigh in this morning, competing in the UFC's middleweight division, he is Wellington Turman.
$185.2.
185.2, the official weight for Wellington Turman.
1. Oh my God.
All right, next athlete to the stage. He will kick off the pay-per-view main card live on ESPN Plus in the UFC's lightweight division, Claudio Puelles.
$155.2.
155.2, the official weight for Claudio Puelles.
5, 1. Thank you.
All right, next fighter to weigh in the UFC's featherweight division, Sungwoo Choi.
You're not hurt? 145.6.
145.6, the official weight for Sungwoo Choi.
1. Thank you.
All right, next fighter to the scale, competing in the featured prelim live on ESPN News in the lightweight division, Brad Riddell.
Get him, Clay. Woo! 55.6.
155.6, the official weight for Brad Riddell.
1. Thanks. Now you have to hype him up. Come on, bro. Happy.
All right, next fighter to the scale, kicking off the pay-per-view main card in the lightweight division, 12th ranked, Dan Hooker.
There you go.
155.8.
155.8, the official weight for the hangman, Dan Hooker.
2, 1. Ready.
Oh, damn.
Now. 14 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, we're done. Later. We're done. No, leave it. Leave it. Just say it's sad. Yeah.
UFC 281 official weigh-ins on MMA Weekly, powered by NordVPN and by PristineAuction.com. What a busy weekend we have. It's New York City. It's the Mecca. There's all kinds of media members there. I mean, you've got Dan Hooker opening up this card. Think about that for 1 second. Hooker opening up this card. I mean, here's a guy who fought for
All right, next fighter to weigh in.
his name's not that long
Competing
ago.
live on pay-per-view here Saturday night, the UFC's Bantamweight division, El Guapo, Chris Gutierrez.
Chris Gutierrez next on the scale, taking on Frankie Edgar in the retirement fight. Hooker and Puelis, and then Edgar and Gutierrez, Poirier, Chandler, Esparza, Weili, and Adesanya Pereira. I have a lot of thoughts on these fights. I can't wait to share them with you. Gutierrez.
For Chris Gutierrez.
The sound cut out there. UFC 281 official weigh-ins coverage on MMA Weekly is powered by NordVPN. How about the security online? It's the fastest VPN out there. First of all, amazing speed. You can use it on 6 devices on every major platform. How about that? Windows, Android, iOS, macOS, and Linux. Even your Android TV supports NordVPN. What is it? It's easy to use with one click. Or auto connect for zero-click protection. 5,300 servers in 59 countries. Find a server near you anywhere. Just click on the map. You can stream flawlessly. Protect all your information, your passwords, your finances, your browsing history. You're going for a job, right? Easy to find you doing some things online that maybe you shouldn't be doing. So I was joking about the married guys there earlier, but you never know, right? You never know. How about that streaming element? It's really cool. VPN. Like I said, I'm learning all the ins and outs of the VPN protection. It's the reality of the world we live in. Look, everybody's freaking out about TikTok and the Chinese government. Mike Pompeo is going on with his pompadour all over media this week. The former, what was he, the Secretary of Defense or whatever he was. Anyway, Mike Pompeo talking about how risky TikTok is. Well, NordVPN can help you with all that stuff and so much more, man. It's unbelievable. I'm learning about it right now. I'm just getting started. I just signed up a few days back, and I'm loving it right now. I feel safe. I feel secure. I had 280 people try to hack me in 1 week. My computer was tracking that. 280 in 1 week, and that's me. I don't make a lot of money. I'm not important to anything or anyone. And 280 people try to jack me online in 1 week. Think about that. That's me. What if you're more important than me? You need that protection from NordVPN. Grab your exclusive deal right now from NordVPN by going to nordvpn.com/Greece. Get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan plus 4 additional months for free. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. 30-day money-back guarantee for free. Get a huge discount off your plan at nordvpn.com/Greece, GRIES, as we continue from New York City. MMA Weekly's coverage of the UFC 281 official weigh-ins. Cam's on the can in New York City. It's a busy media room in there. A lot of people streaming. You can see those logos, PristineAuction.com, NordVPN. Just told you about them. You know we're giving away the signed Dustin Poirier picture. He had just finished Conor McGregor. The picture taken in the octagon, and it was bald Conor. Not all the way bald Conor, but like, you know, shaved head down to the nubs Conor, being nice to everyone all week, and now he's got no beard. And he's just tweeting and putting out on Instagram that he'll fight anybody at any weight. He's talking about the strikers. He's talking about the strikers. Mentioned Israel Adesanya. He mentioned Leon Edwards. Where'd it go? I hate you for reloading right there, Instagram. I was about to say the third person who Conor called out, but you'll see it on his Instagram. Notorious MMA. Where's he at? He's been working hard against wrestling and his jiu-jitsu has Conor McGregor. Looks so much younger without the beard. I don't know if you guys have seen this Conor McGregor picture. He looks so much younger without the beard. Now we're going to hurry up and wait. I mean, they have until 10 a.m. 10 a.m. where I am in Arizona because we don't change our clocks. Until 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern to make weight. I'll give you an update on the weights in just a couple of minutes. MMA Weekly's live coverage of the UFC 281 official weigh-ins is brought to you by PristineAuction.com. Check that out. We're working with them again. We love them. We gave away the Nate Diaz signed glove last time. This time it is the Poirier print, right? They call it a print. It's a picture right after he knocked out Conor McGregor in Abu Dhabi. And Dustin signed that one. You know how happy he was to sign that one when that came through, right? He knocked out Conor McGregor. Hey, sign this picture. No problemo. MMA Weekly pumped to be teaming up with Pristine Auction. Today's coverage of UFC 281, the framed Dustin Poirier picture is yours. If you win it, you can enter for free. Register at the top of the page at pristineauction.com/register. It's https://www.pristineauction.com/register. $10 off your first item one as well when you use the code Dustin. You can upgrade your collection of signed memorabilia today. They got Patty the Batty, they got Conor McGregor, Bones Jones, Francis Ngannou. Are we ever going to see Jon Jones fight again? I don't know, but you can get his stuff right now at pristineauction.com. They have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, the most trusted sports memorabilia auction site out there. Auctions at pristineauction.com start for just $1, and each day there are over 1,000 autographed items available. Again, the Poirier autograph print right now. Enter to win for free. pristineauction.com/register. The links are in the description. What's up, fight fans? Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. We got Cam on the cam in New York City. I'm in a New York state of mind. Man, I wish I was there. I really wanted to go this week. My family's back east, but it's starting to get a little chilly out there, too. I'm kind of liking the Arizona weather. It just broke. It's not a million degrees anymore, so I think I'm going to stick right here for now. Get spoiled in this posh, cushy studio life that I'm living. No problem there.
I'm good.
See if we can find these weights and run through them for you. Okay. Where'd they go?
Okay.
Alex Pereira has not weighed in yet. He weighs a ton in between fights. I mean, did you see the picture of him ripped at 225? training for this fight over a month ago, and he had to cut to 180. I'm going, where is he cutting from? He is literally draining all the water out of his body, cutting his muscles in half, draining half the water out. I mean, this guy is draining everything. Are they taking his blood out and putting it back in? Are they spinning it? Is he getting PRP? I mean, what's going on here? 225 pounds a month ago. Alex Pereira is a beast. He's a huge middleweight. Did you see him towering over Izzy a little bit yesterday? That doesn't happen often. And Izzy, Adesanya, the great champion at 185, one of the tops in the modern, wants to make a run and become the greatest middleweight champion of all time. He's got a guy named Anderson Silva in his sights. Silva, by the way, you guys were with us a couple of weeks ago, lost to Jake Paul, fair and square, got knocked down. They take Jake Paul seriously around here now. I mean, with a grain of salt, he still hasn't fought a boxer or boxed a boxer. You don't fight a boxer. You box a boxing match. You don't fight it. Well, some guys do. Morales and Castillo, I watched that one again last week. Hooker and Willis is official. Edgar and Gutierrez is official. Chandler and Poirier is official. Esparza has weighed in. Adesanya has weighed in. Everyone's made weight on the main card except Pereira. Zhang Weili weighed in as well.
Full price. Retail. Retail. Yeah.
Make sure I have that right for you. Yep, they both weighed in at 114.8, so Pereira's the only one who hasn't weighed in on the main card.
All right, next fighter to the scale, competing in a middleweight prelim live on ESPN News, Andre Petroski.
Andre Petroski weighing in now for his 185-pound fight against Wellington Turman.
185.8, the official weight for Philadelphia's Andre Petroski.
No problem there for Petroski from Philly, taking on Wellington Turman, who already weighed in at 185.2. And this has been a pretty quick weigh, and usually they are. I mean, the fighters are going to want to get on that scale right away. They got it timed down to the second. The bigger names get on first usually, or if someone's having trouble and they're right on weight and they could miss weight, they can get right up on the scale. Izzy right on the button at 85, always. He is going to try to go back up to light heavyweight at some point. Man, it would have been great to see him fight Jon Jones. I think he's too small, though. I like Jones at heavyweight. I can't wait to see where that goes, honestly. What do you guys think in the chat? Jon Jones at heavyweight. Been saying it for so long now, right? Check out in the chat right there the deals we have from NordVPN. Secure your online experience and browsing with NordVPN. You can also stream on there. PristineAuction.com as well. Giving away a Dustin Poirier autographed print when he knocked out Conor McGregor. Poirier on this card against Chandler. What do you do in the lightweight division? Islam the champ dominated Charles Oliveira. Now look, all the guys who Oliveira beat in his run after he won the belt, well, including Chandler, as he won the belt, and actually didn't really defend the belt against Gaethje. I mean, you know the whole saga with him, with the whole debacle in Arizona. But think about this, right? You got Poirier, you got Chandler, Gaethje's waiting in the wings. It's still a stacked division at the top, right? But who, with Islam as the champ, I mean, it helps a lot because those guys were all beaten by Islam. Had Islam won that, it would have had to have been Volkanovski, and it has to be Volkanovski now. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but those guys have all lost so recently that it's, I mean, and Volkanovski has been a dominant champion at 45. No problems there moving him up. I think that's great. But what do you do after that? This is a huge fight in that division. Poirier and Chandler. You knew these guys would get at it and get after it at some point. There's the step and repeat and the scale in the front. UFC 281. We are going to be live tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, I should say. 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. 8 p.m. in Arizona, where I live. Change the clocks. I don't think anybody should change the clock. Daylight savings time might get canceled. Have you guys been seeing all this stuff that people are putting on social media about daylight savings time? Why is it dark at 3 o'clock? 1 hour and it changed it by 4 hours. Everyone's complaining about daylight savings time.
It's pretty sad.
World full of wussies that we live in. Let's cancel it. Let's cancel daylight savings time because it offends the people who don't like it to get dark too early. Let's offend them now, too, in this world that we live in. Sorry, guys. I know it's early. But if you love daylight savings time, I did not mean to offend you. Are we at that point now? I have to apologize to you if you like daylight savings time and I want it gone. You know.
Okay.
There's going to be a
Okay. So I'm just gonna upload it to. I'm gonna upload
of
it to
fighters
YouTube.
coming to the scale. It's a mad rush, right? It's like you chug 6 beers and you can't wait to pee. You got to get it all out right away. But then, what if you didn't drink any water and it just starts trickling out little by little all day? See the comparison there? This is why you can't get this coverage anywhere else. MMA Weekly. Comparing weigh-ins to urination. Only here. Oh my God, it's early. Anyway, I didn't even get my coffee yet. It's still sitting in the coffee maker. Good idea, Jim. Leave it there. Just talking about lightweight a minute ago, guys. Think about
I'll
this.
do that right now.
Makhachev, the champ. How great did he look against Oliveira? All those guys, Poirier, and I'll finish my thought here. Poirier, Gaethje, Chandler, they had Oliveira stunned. They had him hurt. The difference between those guys and Islam is exactly what I said it would be. Not that I picked Islam in that fight. Actually can't remember who I picked because we weren't live that
You
day.
just yeah, I think that would be easier.
I think I did pick Islam in the end, but
Do it really quick.
Islam was able to follow him to the ground and have incredible success down there, and he brutalized him on the feet. But Charles was knocked down by Poirier. He was knocked down by Gaethje. He was knocked down by Chandler. He was virtually finished by all those guys, but they didn't want to follow him down and get the job done on the ground. Islam Makhachev had no problem whatsoever going down there with him, and he just absolutely decimated Charles Oliveira. And that win streak is history, and all those submissions, he got submitted easily. That Islam hype train is real, brother. That Islam talent and those skills are real. Habib as a coach is real.
Okay, so I'll go to my Gmail account. Let me go.
I believe, and this is just me,
All right, I'm
I
gonna go to my
believe
Gmail right
Boris
now.
will
I'm gonna do
lose
it really
before
quick.
Makhachev. Just me. I don't know what you guys think about that. I believe Hamzat Chimaev will lose before Islam Makhachev. The two golden boys right now in the UFC. And how about Figueiredo saying he wants a super fight next after he beats Moreno again? These are his words, not mine. And how about O'Malley goes all the way to #1 at Bantamweight after the win over Petr Yan. O'Malley goes all the way up to #1. That was the most ridiculous decision. I don't know how you guys felt about Yan. I mean, he's talking about leaving the UFC over it. It's not the UFC judges. The UFC doesn't hire the judges, bro. But I can understand why you wouldn't want to fight anymore after a hose job like that. Nobody left for Volk at featherweight unless Henry Cejudo gets ready quickly. Arnold Allen making a run toward the top a little bit now after that win over Cater with the injury. Rodriguez is there, Holloway's there, Ortega's there, but Volkanovski, man, that guy is a legit, he's just a guy who finds a way to win. Cejudo's very similar. That would be an incredible fight. The two guys I've seen in the UFC in recent years, the top two guys in terms of in-fight adjustments, in terms of finding a way to win no matter what the circumstances, injuries. I mean, from Henry being on one leg with one arm against Marias to
Our next fighter
Volkanovski
to the scale, competing in the UFC Women's Strawweight Division, former world title challenger Karolina Kowalkiewicz.
There's Kowalkiewicz. She used to be a title contender.
115.6.
115.6, the official weight for Karolina Kowalkiewicz.
Interesting, she's not ranked. That division is jacked at strawweight, man. I am telling you what, it is jacked. Gomez Suarez not ranked either. In the division where Carla Esparza is the champ. How about that? After the almost 7-year hiatus without the belt, Joanna Jacek is long gone. Esparza defending against Zhang Weili. Man, Thug Rose looks so good against Weili in those fights, and then to lose the way she did to Esparza.
Y'all ain't slick on that one. Y'all ain't slick. Y'all ain't slick on that one. ESPN, fuck you for that. Fuck you, Nikki.
That's Izzy.
I was trying to say something. Yeah, see, that's the way. Don't worry, that's Fugazi. That's Fugazi. Let them do what they want. Yeah, and this is the TikTok era. That's what I'm talking about. People will watch that and believe that.
Izzy talking about the TikTok era. Trying to control the narrative of that pub coming out of New York, the champ, the guy to make the walk last, the one who told me last year in Vegas. Actually, was it 2 years ago now? It was, interviewing him. Wow. I've been bald for 3 years now.
He's in the back.
Is he telling me that his confidence comes from the fact that he refuses to let anyone have the satisfaction? Because everyone's going to try to bring you down anyway. He's not going to help him. He's going to keep it in his own mind. There's where he was over there doing some media. He's going to keep it in his own mind. That strength, that conviction, that courage, that no matter what happens in there, he's going to be okay. And he's going to need that this weekend. Has Israel Adesanya gone into a UFC fight mentally, and nobody knows this but him. Might get a little clue here and there, but nobody knows this but Izzy. Mentally speaking, has there ever been a time where Adesanya's gone into a UFC fight? Any fight. Because the second fight with Pereira was the one where he got knocked out, not the first one. That was a close decision, right? Very close. And Izzy had thought he had won. And you saw Izzy saying he's going to go around his whole life saying he beat me. That's his claim to fame. Well, that ain't his claim to fame. His claim to fame is going to be if he beats you here. It doesn't matter what he did in kickboxing. The Rock would say, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter that he beat him twice in kickboxing. It doesn't matter that he's the only guy to knock Adesanya out. And by the way, Izzy came very close to finishing Pereira earlier in that fight. He got knocked out in the third round, I believe. He came close to finishing it earlier in that fight where Pereira was stopped. The fight was stopped, and the ref helped Pereira, gave him a standing 8, gave him a break. And then he made it to the end of that round 1. 1 or 2, I can't remember. But the point is, Izzy had him hurt. Izzy had him stunned. Izzy was at a point where he felt he could have finished that fight. And the ref gave Pereira a break with that standing 8, helped him get through that round. And then Izzy got caught because Pereira knew in the first couple of rounds he had lost. These are Izzy's words. And Pereira came out like crazy in that third round, right? And he caught Izzy with that left and floored him. See the image of his kid over him laughing and all that stuff. And I don't think Izzy's the guy who lets that stuff fester in his head. I mean, he's had enough stuff going on. You know, he's had enough stuff with Vittori, with Paulo Costa. These things don't faze Izzy. We know that. The Whitaker fight under those lights over there in Australia, you know, he's in New Zealand, Whitaker's an Australian. And I mean, that was incredible. The counter shot in round 2. After he rocked the Reaper at the end of round 1. And who else has even, with Izzy's 2 wins over Rob, who else has even, I mean, Whitaker's been killing dudes. He's got a big one coming up against Costa with his secret juice. Thank you for hanging with us. MMA Weekly's live coverage of the UFC 281 official weigh-ins. But yeah, Amanda Lemos making a nice run. 4 spots up at number 3 at strawweight behind Esparza, Namajunas, Weili. Jessica Andrade, a former champion in that division, is at number 4. Marina Rodriguez drops 2 spots to 5 after that TKO loss to Lemos. That was a great fight. Mackenzie Dern is down at 7. Jan's at 6. I mean, Amanda Hebus at 9. What an incredible, I mean, Michelle Waterson-Gomez at number 11. Angela Hill, 12. That is a jacked division for Kowalkiewicz not to be ranked at strawweight. Now you know why. The The big boys met the media yesterday. How about that? The light heavyweights. UFC 282 in Vegas on December 10th. Glover Teixeira gets his rematch against Yuri Prochazka. Jan Blachowicz and Ankalaev on that card. Going to be a big one in Vegas to finish out the year in Sin City. How about the F1 race there this weekend? The UFC on the road. Formula One, right on the Vegas Strip. So what if you're a fight fan? What can NordVPN do for you? Let's tell you about NordVPN again. Proud sponsor of MMA Weekly's live coverage of UFC 281. A big sponsor. Very proud to have NordVPN on board with us and pumped to be using their service. I'm a sports fan. You're a fight fan. First of all, you can stream from anywhere. You don't miss your fights from anywhere when you're abroad. You change your virtual location with one click. Find streaming platforms at a lower price. You can use it on 6 devices, even on your smart TV. It's the fastest VPN on the market, a next-gen solution. Nord links for maximum speed. They win all kinds of awards. It's as fast as any other one out there. Forget buffering. You're going to watch without interruption. Use AutoConnect for more convenience. And also, all your information is going to be protected. No one's going to hack your bank account. No one's going to get your passwords. No one is going to track your online activity with NordVPN. I'll tell you what, right now, I am pumped to be using their service, pumped to be working with NordVPN. And, of course, you can get your special deal, just like I did, an exclusive NordVPN deal. Go to NordVPN, NordVPN.com/Greece, Grease, NordVPN.com/Greece to get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan, plus 4 additional months for free. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee at NordVPN.com/Greece. The link and the details are in the description and the chat. Let's take a look at some of these odds. What do you guys think? I'm going to give you a rundown real quick on the official weights, and then we'll look at some of the odds for these fights. This is what we call fill in the business, not the MMA business, the broadcasting business. The main card, everyone has weighed in and made weight except Alex Pereira. Now he's a heavy middleweight, and he has another 2 hours and 15 minutes to make that weight. I know until he does, everybody's sweating a little bit after that whole Hamzat Chimaev debacle and readjusting. And, man, we were on our game on that one. We called it live. Scott and I did. So Izzy made weight at 185. Alex Pereira yet to weigh in for that title fight at the top of the card. The women's strawweight champion Carla Esparza and #1 competitor and challenger
Our next athlete to weigh in, the
Zhang Weili
UFC Bantamweight division. Julio Arce.
Julio Arce weighing in for his fight against Montel Jackson. Second ones out of the locker rooms after Carlos Ulberg and Nikolai Negarano.
135.8, the official weight for Julio Arce.
Arce at 135.8 joins Montel Jackson at the same weight, his opponent, so that's official. Still 3 fighters on the featured prelims haven't weighed in, and now 3 fighters on the early prelims, plus Alex Pereira. So we mentioned Adesanya at 185. Pereira hasn't weighed in. Esparza 114.8. Zhang Weili 114.8. Poirier 156, Chandler 155.8. Dustin and Michael ready to get it on. I can't believe that's a co-main. Can you guys believe Poirier and Chandler is a co? That's a main event. It's a co on this card. And the reason it's not the co-main event is because it's not a title fight. So Esparza and Weili, nobody at the UFC believes you think Poirier and Chandler is not a bigger fight than Esparza and Weili in terms of the matchup and what you fans want to see. But a title fight's a title fight. It's always going to come ahead of the non-title fight on the marquee. Frankie Edgar in his retirement fight. The answer will be no more. The former lightweight champion, featherweight legend, now at bantamweight, weighed in at 135.6 for his final fight against Chris Gutierrez at 136. Hooker 155.8. Dan, of course, Izzy's teammate, making the trip with him with City Kickboxing against Claudio Puelles at 155.2. Brad Riddle at 155.6, Moicano at 155.8, the featured prelim. Dominic Reyes making his return after a long time out. A long time. Blahovic beat him
You know, I feel like whenever I've had a good amount of time
for the belt.
to
Had a tough run of it over these last couple of years, Dominic Reyes, after a rapid rise in the light heavyweight division. A title shot and almost win against Jon Jones in February 2020, less than a month before the pandemic hit. Less than a month. I was in Vegas for that fight. It was in Houston, but I was in Vegas, I remember. I had a big sponsor who had their national convention, and I was there working with them. And I was going to be right back in Vegas less than a month later for Izzy and Romero, and that was the one where Joanna and Weili won. It was the co-main fight of the year to many people in 2020. Dominic Reyes fought a month before that, before the pandemic, is when he had his title shot against Jon Jones. That wasn't his last fight, but that was his title shot. A little more than 2.5 years ago, and that was his last, I want to say, moment of greatness. He was awesome in that Jones fight. He's had some struggles since then. I did an interview with him at UFC Fan Expo over the summer. We'll have some clips from that coming out on MMA Weekly social media today. Aaron Blanchfield and Molly McCann both made weight for their 125-pound scrap. Meatball Molly getting some advice from Conor McGregor about handling her newfound fame. McGregor responded to a DM from Molly McCann who wanted some advice on handling that fame. I mean, you go from nobody knowing your name anywhere you go. In some cases, no matter where she went, no one knew who she was. And then all of a sudden, Meatball Molly becomes famous worldwide. It happens overnight for a lot of these men and women. Petrosky hasn't weighed in yet. Andre taking on Wellington Turman at 185. First fight of the featured prelims on ESPN News and ESPN. Turman already weighed in at 185.2. Matt Frivola, Atman Azaitar, both made weight. Kowalkiewicz and Gomez, same thing. Still no Pereira. We talked about that. But just finishing up those early prelims, Trezano and Choi. Choi is 145.6. Arce 135.8. Jackson 135.8. Oberg 205.2. Nikolai Gorano has yet to weigh in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fighters still left to weigh in. And that gives me time to tell you about PristineAuction.com, the most trusted sports memorabilia auction site in the world with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. We're thrilled to be teaming up with Pristine Auction on today's coverage of UFC 281, giving away a framed Dustin Poirier autographed print. What's that, you ask? No, it's a picture. It's when he had just finished Conor McGregor by TKO, and he signed that picture. It wasn't the "your wife send me DMs," Conor. It was the I love everyone and I'm going to be nice and respectful to the whole world Connor that no one liked and no one believed before he got back to being himself at the end of the second fight. Anyway, we're giving away that framed Poirier print from Pristine Auction. Details coming up. But first, again, they're the most trusted sports memorabilia auction site with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Auctions on pristineauction.com start at just $1, and each day there are over 1,000 autographed items available, authentic, signed signatures at affordable prices. Signed signatures, you like that? That's how good I am. Signed signatures. You only get that here. Just last week, an autographed Francis Ngannou glove sold for $49. Deals like this are happening as opposed to unsigned signatures for those of you out there. It's still too early to figure that one out. Deals like this are happening all the time on pristineauction.com, and they have just about every fighter you could ever want. Patty the Batty, Meatball Molly, Conor McGregor, Jon Bones Jones, and so many more. Every item at pristineauction.com comes with a certificate of authenticity from the industry's most reputable authenticators. Upgrade your collection of signed memorabilia today and get $10 off your first item one when you use the code Dustin. Where can you do it? pristineauction.com/register. pristineauction.com. Click register on the top of the page. Sign up using the registration code Dustin. You go to the top page and click register. You go to the link that's in the bio or the description. It's all over God's green earth. Sign up using our registration code Dustin to be entered in the giveaway. And again, links and descriptions are in the description and the chat. How about that? Who used to say that all the time? Oh, this week in baseball. Mel Allen. How about that? I miss liking baseball. I used to love it when I was a kid. This is where you could be waiting a while. I mean, you got dudes just sitting on the stage on their phones now going, yeah, no one's coming out for a bit. Because what happens is early on, and I'm gonna do my best here not to. And Scott, you feel free anytime to pipe in. You've been doing this 20 years. This is where we just kind of hit that lull early on, right? Early on in the weigh-ins, you're gonna get that mad rush. This is a science. It's down to the second. These men and women are cutting weight. And it's really intense. I mean, for a lot of these fighters, they're in saunas all night. They're in sauna suits. They're in bathtubs full of Epsom salts. I mean, they're doing whatever they can to cut that weight, right? They distill water, everything. They haven't eaten anything. They literally, a lot of them look like they're one step away from death. They're on death's door, it looks like. I mean, they're emaciated. It looks like one of those Ethiopian commercials when we were kids. Donate now $1. You can feed 7 million people with $1. Always wondered how that was possible. Your $3 donation will feed 56 families for a month. And I'm like, how? Where do you get that math? Anyway, I digress, but it's very, very exact, the science of it. And so you're going to see fighters, they just want to get that crap out of the way, right? You just want to get that. You've peed everything out. You've pooped everything out. You have no water left in your body. You're basically not human as you're about to make weight. You're not, and you're barely alive. So they drag you to the scale, they prop you up, you make weight, and some fighters are fine making weight, you know, and a lot of them, it's not as exaggerative as I make it. But, I mean, this is show business. But when you're making weight, a lot of fighters, most fighters, they just want to get on that scale, get it done, and rehydrate right away. So it's timed out, so you get a mad rush at the beginning, and the commission and the UFC sort that out, which fighters go first, you know, are there any health risks, anything like that. And they got to watch that carefully with the weight cuts, right? So you've got everybody but 5 fighters, did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's another one.
Competing in the UFC's light heavyweight division, former world title challenger,
Dominic Reyes.
Ranked contender, the devastator Dominic Reyes.
What a nice guy. I like this guy a lot. He's a super cool dude, Dominic Reyes. Former college football star at Stony Brook. My boy Scott Lewis, shout out Scotty, played at Stony Brook.
205.4, the official weight for Dominic Reyes.
Reyes makes weight. That long, lean body. Not super jacked. But that athletic build. 3-fight losing streak. Including the Jones decision at UFC 247 that almost everyone on God's green earth believes he won. Not me, but almost everyone else. That was in Houston. Jones on that little run where you know, some of these fighters like Blachowicz saying this week he thinks people figured Jones out, and that happens, right? He's beating everyone, beating everyone, beating everyone. Everyone's coming for you. It happened to Ronda Rousey. Everyone's training for you. Everyone is training to get their shot at you. They're training for who their next opponent is, and they're training for you. They're thinking about their next opponent, and they're thinking about you. That was Jones, right? They were getting closer and closer. Thiago Santos, and then Dominic Reyes. I mean, look, he started 12-0 and was just knocking everybody out, man. He just knocked. Did you remember that knockout in the first round, under 3 minutes, where he just decimated Jared Cannonier, one of the top fighters at 185? Just crushed him. Crushed him. Dominated Ovince St. Preux. Split decision over Vulcan. Crushed Chris Weidman in less than 2 minutes when Weidman tried to go up to 205. Weidman was grasping at straws at that point, and now, of course, he's got the devastating injury to come back from. It's not even 8 o'clock yet. Give me a break. But then the loss to Jones, February 2020. September of that year, he got the title shot against Jan Blachowicz. The belt was vacant. Insert Jon Jones joke there. So Blachowicz started his run with that TKO of Reyes, who looked good early in that fight, gassed out in Abu Dhabi, and then came back and fought Yuri Prochazka in May of 2021. And 4 minutes, 29 seconds, he was knocked out by a spinning back elbow and a thing of beauty, but he was beat up in that fight. Yuri just beat him up, man. So I'm anxious to see, with all this time off, I mean, you think about it, that's May of 2021. Year and a half on the shelf for Dominic Reyes. And he takes on Ryan Spann, who's definitely no slouch. I mean, for real, right? I mean, not exactly a title contender right now. 20-7, 5 knockouts, 12 submissions. Got to watch him with those submissions. I mean, he submitted Ian Cutelaba his last time out. Cutelaba's a beast. Lost by submission to Anthony Smith before that, and he's lost to Johnny Walker. But other than that, he hadn't lost a fight other than Carl Roberson. And that was way back on the Contender Series in 2017. Got wins over Cutelaba and Serkunov and Sam Alvey. Little Nog. Hard to believe Little Nog was fighting up until about 2 years ago, right? Okay, so we gave you, because Reyes made weight, and that leaves 4 fighters left. Alex Pereira, the only one on the main card, the main event, the title fight not official yet, the main event not official yet. Pereira still has 2 hours, as does Ryan Spann. Dominic Reyes just made weight, so the only one left on the main card is Pereira. The only one left on the featured prelims is Ryan Spann. And then you got Michael Trezano and Nikolai Mariano. Looks like Keanu. We need Matthew Perry to call that fight. Hey, why is Keanu Reeves still alive? And Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix are not. Did you guys see that? That was random. UFC 281. The official weigh-ins. Got the ceremonials coming up later this afternoon. We'll be live for those on MMA Weekly. Got the live stream reaction show tomorrow night, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, right here on the world's largest independently owned MMA website, MMA Weekly. I'm starting to wake up. My mouth is starting to move all the way. I mean, 50 years old, they tell you, it's going to be hard getting out of bed in the morning. It's going to take you a little bit longer to wake up. It's going to take you a little bit longer for your muscles to come to life and warm up and your bones to stop cracking. I mean, I get up and my knees and legs and my hips crack. Then I bend down to put my shoes on and I get back up and my neck and my back crack. And then I'm good to go. But my mouth, for some reason, is not loose yet. I need to stretch my jaw. Can you imagine? You get older? I got punched in the face years ago. Shocker to most of you, I know. Punched in the face, and my jaw still clicks from that punch. Got to get that jaw warmed up. Still didn't drink the coffee yet. It's in the coffee maker. And we might be waiting a while. We don't know. I mean, they have 2 hours. And this is what happens, like I was describing before Reyes hit the scale. You get that mad rush early. almost every fighter gets on right away. And then you're looking within the hour, right? Everyone wants to get as close to the beginning of the show and the beginning of these weigh-ins as possible. Get it done, get it over with, get that fluid back in their body, start recovering, get that strength back up, get a good meal in them. You know what I mean? They got to get those calories up. They got to get that weight back up. And you start the process of rehydration, of recovering to be ready to fight in 36 hours. When it used to be in the afternoons at what are now the ceremonial weigh-ins, it was a lot harder for fighters to get back that strength. That extra 12 hours makes a big difference. And I would argue that you never see a UFC fighter at their best because the weigh-ins the day before, and they're cutting so much weight. But they have it down to a science, so most of them are able to pull it off no problemo.
Quick for you. I'm actually running a little bit of interview.
At least they know with all the other trials and tribulations and all the other things you have to go through on fight week, all the media, all the interviews, the press conferences, the media days, the cutting weight, all those things that are not training, that are not fighting, that go into the job on fight week. It can be pretty stressful. So much going on in the mind of a fighter. But if they are protected by NordVPN, internet security and streaming speed are not two of those issues for them to be stressed about. That's right. How about that? NordVPN sponsoring us here. We're proud to be partnering with them on MMA Weekly for the UFC 281 official weigh-ins. If Scott could just throw up that NordVPN logo. Next gen solution, NordLynx gives you maximum speed. It's the fastest VPN on the market. The fastest VPN on the market. Forget buffering, no interruptions. Confirmed by the newest speed test. You can use AutoConnect to make it easier. You're never going to miss anything when you're streaming. No matter where you are, you can change your virtual location with one click. Find streaming platforms at a lower price. Use on 6 devices, even your smart TV. I mean, just unbelievable, right? Just security, your passwords, your bank account, all those I mentioned earlier, 280 attempts in a week to hack me. 280 attempts. I got NordVPN. I'm not messing around anymore, and you should too. Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal right now by going to NordVPN.com/Greece. That's NordVPN, VPN.com/Greece, GRIES. Get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan. The speed, the protection, all the things that come along with NordVPN. You get a huge discount plus 4 additional months for free. NordVPN.com/Greece. It's completely risk-free. How, you ask? With Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. NordVPN.com/Greece, GRIES. And how many things in this sport, after all, are completely risk-free? Nothing about this sport is risk-free. NordVPN right now. Huge discount off your plan, 4 additional months free at NordVPN.com/GRIES. John Anik with a little sponsor love today for Toyo Tires. But he's glad to be out of Florida this week with all that hurricane stuff. That's where John lives. South Florida, that. Good dude. I like John. Always have. He's a Boston fan. Strike one. But aside from that, he's all right. And he's good. I mean, I've always been a Goldie guy. Mike Goldberg's one of my best friends. Great dude. To fill those shoes and to come in the way Anik did and do the job the way he has and work with a guy like Joe Rogan and work with a superstar like Daniel Cormier, think about what it takes to work with just forget DC, the legend of the sport, the 10 title shots, the 2 division champion, the everyone but Stipe and Jon Jones, DC, Daniel Cormier, the weight loss box when they cover themselves on the scale. I mean, DC's a star, huge character, Olympian, just a great, huge personality. And then you got Joe Rogan. Imagine trying to run a show where Joe Rogan's on it. Think about that. Not an easy job for John, but when you love what you do and you're calling fights, I mean, I do it too. It's awesome. You love every second of it, so it's no big deal. But it's definitely not an easy thing to do to make that adjustment and work with guys like that. I'll definitely tell you that. I've called some fights with some pretty big name people, and it's, you know, I mean, it's a little different than calling the fights on the way up. Working with ESPN and Triller Fight Club now. Same job, same fun, same thing, same exact thing. Just a little bit different. Format's a little tighter. It's the big show. Your partners are top names, high level. Jon does a great job, man. He does a great job for our sport and for the UFC. Still waiting on Alex Pereira, Ryan Spann, Michael Trizano, and Nikolai Negumereanu. On you. Need John Anik for this one. You gotta have that hockey announcer vocab calling these fights. The first fight of the show in New York City. The UFC rolling out the big boys at 205. Carlos Ulberg and Nikolai Negumereanu. Arce and Jackson, Trizano and Choi, Kowalkiewicz and Gomez, Matt Favola and Azatar. On the early prelims, Petrosky and Turman, Blanchfield and Meatball Molly, Dominic Reyes returns against Ryan Spann, Brad Riddle and Renato Moicano. The featured prelims, that's the main event on the featured prelims, Riddle and Moicano. Dan Hooker, Claudio Puelles, both made weight. Frankie Edgar, Chris Gutierrez, both made weight, 55 and 35 those fights. Another fight at 155 pounds that the whole world's watching. Islam Makhachev and Alexander Volkanovski. It's already been said that they will be the next matchup at 155. The pound for pound versus the lightweight belt. But after that, Poirier and Chandler looking to be next in line for a title shot against Islam Makhachev or Alexander Volkanovski. Dubronk's waiting in the wings in that stacked division. Poirier and Chandler, the co-main. Chandler's second year in a row he gets on the MSG card. They love Michael Chandler. He came right in and went to Abu Dhabi and was the backup for Khabib and Gaethje. Got the title shot almost right away after beating Dan Hooker. Got the interim shot against Dubronx, lost that. Fights Gaethje, gets the kick heard around the world against Tony Ferguson, who was doing really well against him before that. Poor Tony, man. It's been a tough go for Kukui. It's a cruel sport, man. You can be on top of the game 1 minute, and the next you're on a big lose. I mean, you're talking about a 12-fight win streak to, what, a 6-fight losing streak? 5 for Tony Ferguson? Unbelievable. Carla Esparza defending her title against Zhang Weili. And I got to say something and give a shout-out to my guy, Jeff Kane, by the way, MMAWeekly.com. Get on that website for wall-to-wall coverage all week long. And then I have something to say about something else. Don't let me forget Kane Velasquez. Free Kane. Kane's a free man on $1 million bond. That was really nice to see Kane Velasquez out of jail, back with his family. Hopefully that scumbag who was molesting his son and other kids, allegedly, don't want to offend the scumbags out there. Would never want to do that, right? Don't offend the child molesters. But anyway, Kane's out of jail, and that's nice to see. We're not going any deeper with that one. Very happy for Kane. And I'll say this. I've known Kane Velasquez a long time. I've known him years and years and years. I can't even put a number on it. He's done show after show and interview after interview with me, with Ryan Bader, with Aaron Simpson, with CB Dollaway, with Robbie Lawler, with Seth Baczynski. I mean, all those guys, right? But it was always Kane. Anytime I needed anything, he's fighting Ngannou and I need an interview, come on up to my hotel room and get it. I'm going to be in town at the ASU Wrestling Room if you want to see me while I'm here. Michelle and I are going to be here if you want to stop by. That's Kane Velasquez, the ultimate family man, the father, the husband, been without his family since February. Not saying what Kane did was right, going around with the high-speed chase and shooting at the guy. I mean, none of us, I haven't. I can't say none of us have been in that position because you might have. I can't say what position you've been in. I don't want to know which positions most of you have been in. But regardless, I don't know what you've been through, but I do know this. I have not been through what Kane has been through with his son, and I do not know that I would not react exactly the same. I know I definitely have the gun to do it. Am I offending anyone else? Alex Pereira is the one we're all waiting for. I mean, no disrespect to Trizano and Nikolai Negumereanu and Ryan Spann. Big fight against Dominic Reyes. But Pereira is the one everyone's waiting for to make the title fight and the main event official against Israel Adesanya. He's beaten him twice, beat him by decision, knocked him out in kickboxing. But I said it earlier, this matters a lot more. Izzy said, hey, he was going to go around his whole life and say, I beat him. When Izzy won his UFC title fight, when Izzy beat Whitaker, when Izzy got that gold, when Izzy beat Gastelum to get the interim gold, every single time, there was Pereira with social media posts. I beat him. I beat him. I beat him. Here's the video. I knocked him out. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. And Izzy saying that's his claim to fame. So all he's going to ever do is go around and say, he beat me. Well, guess what? No one cares about that now because those kickboxing fights were seen by virtually no one. Israel Adesanya was not the UFC champ at 85 and a worldwide star. Pereira hadn't starched Sean Strickland. And everybody else almost on his path. He has one loss. But now it's a main event at Madison Square Garden. It's a UFC title fight. And if Izzy goes in there to kickbox with this dude and he beats him again for a third time in two different sports, he owns his ass. And anytime anybody thinks about Israel Adesanya, they're going to say, yeah, but Alex Pereira. Izzy knows what he's doing in there. Izzy knows the history that's at stake. Izzy knows the legacy that's at stake. Izzy knows the revenge factor. He's a proud, proud guy. I mean, I don't know many guys in sports, and I've been around a long time, and I've interviewed, you name them, I've interviewed them. And I don't know that the confidence level and the pride level that I've seen from Israel Adesanya, let me put it this way. I've seen them matched. I don't know that I've seen athletes with more. I don't. He's on that level. You have to be. I mean, you're fighting. You're locked in a cage. You're locked in the octagon with another human being until one of you gets knocked out, submitted, or one of you is left standing at the end to win a decision. It's unbelievable, man. There's nothing like it. But this is everything for Izzy. He's already lost going up to 205. Not a huge deal. It was a close fight. It was a decision. He didn't really get hurt in that fight against Blachowicz. He just kind of took him down and controlled him, which is what he knew he had to do. He stood on the feet and threw with Izzy. He'd have been toast. Good move by Jan. I'm still surprised he's not the champion anymore. I thought he was going to go a lot longer with that belt. So hard in the bigger weight classes. 205, man, full of monsters. But Adesanya wants to be the greatest middleweight of all time. He wants to be the greatest UFC champion of his era. He wants the super fights. He wants to try 205 again. He's got to beat his nemesis, his kickboxing nemesis. Kickboxing. This is not kickboxing. It's mixed martial arts. And Pereira did not dominate Adesanya, especially in the first fight. In the second fight, Pereira was close to being finished. The referee gave him a standing 8. Izzy felt like that allowed him to recover, get through that round, and then desperation kicked in the third round after he had felt like he had lost the first 2. And Pereira really turned up the heat in that third round and caught Izzy as he was backpedaling with a solid left hand. In close, a hook, just dropped him. But this is not kickboxing. But again, the gloves are bigger in kickboxing. So this is interesting. I mean, if Pereira catches you, if you're a human, put it this way, unless you're probably tied to Ivasa, how does that dude, the head kick he took from Gon and all the punches, 37 punches he took from Derek Lewis, which is absurd, out on his feet multiple times against Cyril Gon, to finally stop that fight. But unless you're tied to Ivasa, you're not taking that punch from Pereira and still standing. I mean, this dude is huge. He hits like a truck with both hands, with both feet. He's a world-class kickboxer, as is Adesanya. I mean, these are probably the 2 best kickboxers you've seen in the UFC in a long time, right? I mean, these are 2 of the best you've ever seen in the UFC. That being said, watch it be like takedown after takedown. All day long. Takedown, takedown, takedown. I mean, you've seen Joanna Jędrzejczyk's a Muay Thai fighter. I mean, Mark Hunt's a world-class kickboxer. Alistair Overeem obviously is not there anymore. Barboza. Semi Schilt. Donald Cerrone. I mean, there's been some really big ones, though. And some really, I mean, obviously Anderson Silva. Crow Cop. What a beast, Crow Cop. Jose Aldo. Wonder Boy, can't forget Wonder Boy got a big fight in Orlando coming up, headlining. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is. Against Kevin Holland, he of the short-lived retirement following that debacle against Hamzat Chimaev. I'm not missing anybody, am I? Jermaine Durandamy. No, I got Barboza, got Aldo, got Mark Hunt, Wonderboy, Izzy and Pereira, Anderson Silva, Crow Cop. Yeah. Interesting. But Adesanya knows everything. And look, Whitaker's fighting Costa. He's lined up again. So a new champion, as is the case with Islam, after the previous champion had cleaned everybody out, opens it back up. So if he's able to win, speaking of Pereira, who's ranked number 4, he jumps up to champion. Adesanya drops down. But you have 3 guys ahead of Pereira who he has not fought yet at 1, 2, and 3. And they are Robert Whitaker, former champ Jared Cannonier, the Killer Gorilla, and Marvin Vettori, who's beaten everyone except Adesanya twice and now Whitaker. So clearly Izzy and Whitaker are the elite in the division. They've beaten everyone. And Izzy's beaten Whitaker twice. The second one very close. But you look at Izzy, he's beaten Costa, he's beaten Vettori twice, he's beaten Cannonier, he's beaten Whitaker twice. I mean, what's there still? Nobody. Strickland got derailed by Pereira, and that's why he's here. Paulo fell down to number 6. Brunson hanging around at 5. But if Pereira can somehow get this win, and Izzy doesn't get the immediate rematch, if he gets dropped, if it's a dominating performance, I would love to see Whitaker and Pereira, man. That's the one. But don't sleep on Costa. That's not a joke. Love you, Paulo. Alex ducked Izzy? Oh, because he hasn't weighed in yet. Gotta love the chat sometimes. Check it out now if you're in the chat. I just put it up. NordVPN and PristineAuction.com. I'm going to do a couple little short versions of the spots right now. NordVPN.com/Greece is the place to go to grab your exclusive NordVPN deal. Huge discount off your NordVPN plan plus 4 additional months for free. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. NordVPN, the safest web surfing experience. If you work with NordVPN, the streaming is fast and on point anywhere in the world. It's the fastest VPN on the market. You want that protection. Your passwords are all in one place. Nobody's hacking you. They're not getting your bank account. They're not getting your social security. I mean, you give it to everyone anyway. All you people who go around going, I'm not getting on TikTok. The Chinese are going to get my information. The Chinese are going to know where I shop for groceries and what I watch online. The Chinese are going to get me. Not if you have NordVPN. And by the way, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. We live in a society where we give our social security numbers to everyone for everything we do. We're on camera 24/7. They track everything we do on every device we ever go on. NordVPN. Get that deal now. Trust me. Huge discount off your plan plus 4 additional months for free with NordVPN. Also want to tell you about Pristine Auction. I love Pristine Auction, man. I'm hooked on that site. There's so much stuff on there, so many amazing auctions, and not just UFC related. You name it, they have everything on there, right? But we're giving away a framed Dustin Poirier print, they're calling it. It's a picture of Poirier in the octagon celebrating after he finished Conor McGregor, not the one with the broken leg, the one before that. Nice guy Conor with the nubby shaved head who nobody really could figure out, including Conor, I think. But he looked great early in that fight and had Poirier almost finished before Poirier came back and beat him on the feet. That's where you knew Poirier, look, you could have taken him down, could have wrestled him, could have submitted him, and that's where a lot of people say they're going to beat Conor. You got to win the fight. No, Poirier said, I'm beating him on the feet, and he went right at him. He says the same thing. If Michael Chandler comes at him hard and fast in this fight, like he normally does, aggression, full on, he said, it's going to be over fast. He said he does not have the technical skills to fight like that against me. And I am pretty much going word for word what he said to DC this week. Anyway, you can enter to win a frame Dustin Poirier autograph print. The diamond is not included. You're going to have to mine your own. But what you will get is $10 off your first item 1 at PristineAuction.com. You use the registration code Dustin when you sign up at pristineauction.com/register. All the info plus the links, everything is in the bio. Bald Rabbit says Alex ain't making weight. Has anybody ever seen a bald rabbit? I think I've seen an albino rabbit, but a bald rabbit? You know, not for nothing. When I was a kid, I believed the whole Santa Claus thing. I mean, I'd even be in the car driving home from the Christmas Eve parties as a little boy, and my parents would tell me, look in the sky for Santa Claus, which was their way of shutting me up so they could drive back after the drinks they had. But I'm looking in the sky for Santa Claus, nowhere to be found. But I looked. They had me, right? They lost me at the Easter Bunny. Sorry, Bald Rabbit. They lost me at the Easter Bunny. There's no way a rabbit's going around the world giving everyone candy and eggs. And rabbits don't lay eggs. So they lost me there. I was an intelligent kid. I've always been smart. Santa Claus, they got me. I believe the fat guy in the sleigh with the reindeer who can fly, but not the rabbit. Says but Bald Rabbit says Alex ain't making weight. Boy, Bald Rabbits, that's not true, by the way. You can weigh in more than once. The exact scale that they weighed in on was available as per the New York Commission an hour before the weigh-ins. That's probably why Zhang Weili put the box up and took her clothes off and then had actually cut a little more weight. So here's the rule, if you're wondering, guys, and you guys are talking about this in the chat, so I want to make sure I give this to you, okay? It is not true that Pereira only has one shot to weigh in. In a non-title bout, in New York, the combatant will have one opportunity to make weight at the official weigh-in, except a combatant who is over the contract weight may remove undergarments and accessories and step on the scale a second time immediately after the combatant's first time on the scale, which may be why Zhang Weili just said, the hell with it, I'm doing it now, because she was only 0.2 of a pound under. And it's a title fight, so she had to be right on weight. Didn't have that extra pound to play with. Now, if it's a title bout, okay, which we're talking about Pereira here, and you guys are watching in the chat, pay attention, and I'm going to put this in the chat. If it's a title bout, if the combatant is not at or below the contracted weight when he or she, and I'm reading directly, so there's no misinterpretation here, when he or she gets on the scale at the official weigh-in, the combatant may be granted up to 2 hours from the time he or she takes the scale to attempt to make the contracted weight. Alex Pereira, as it stands right now, we're an hour and a half into the show, so he's got an hour and a half left to step on the scale. So there you have it, fight fans. So when you said in the chat, what are you guys making of that whole thing with Izzy's pec muscle? And people are pointing that out and circling it again, saying there's no way he's not on stuff. He's back on stuff. Izzy is back. Like, I mean, people used to say he was on roids and he was finishing everybody. And the knock on Izzy recently has been, you know, not as exciting of fights, and he's still winning them, and he still looks great. You're welcome, Danielle 218. And that wasn't me trying to come at you, Rabbit, or diss anybody. But I do want to say this, and you're right, Rabbit. He did get up to 236 after the Strickland fight. Hamzat steps in if Pereira doesn't make weight. Oh, yeah. He owes some people some things. Hamzat Chimaev does. Bald Rabbit says, I hope Izzy wins just so middleweight haters stay mad at leg kicks. That's pretty funny. Leg kicks are so effective, man. How can you be mad at leg kicks? Leg kicks are one of the most effective things you can do in a fight. Check out those deals from NordVPN.com and PristineAuction.com. You can be safe on the internet while you sign up for PristineAuction.com and enter to win your Dustin Poirier autograph pick. Yeah, we're about, well, you see the time. Well, I don't know if you guys see the time, but I do. DJ Khaled, God did. No one believed in us. God did. DJ Khaled's crazy. By the way, did you guys hear that new Drake and 21 Savage album? I'm not a fan. I think Drake's losing it. It's going downhill fast. Marty Fake Newsman. There you go. I knew RMG said it because when Hamzat's name came up, who doesn't want to see him fight Colby? I mean, come on. That's the fight I want to see in the entire UFC. And by the way, while I'm talking about fights that I want to see, I just have to get a little bit emotional here, and I have to get a little bit, I mean, what's the word? Just kind of dreamy and thinking back and what's the word I'm looking for? I'm reminiscing. I'm ruminating because my boy Frankie Edgar's leaving us, man. And you talk about a legend of this sport. I mean, this is one of the greatest fighters, one of the most popular fighters. I mean, you're talking about a guy. Frankie Edgar made his MMA debut as a pro in the Bronx, New York, against Eric Uresk in 2005 in the Underground Combat League, right? He wrestled in the 2005 NCAA championships and the 2004 NCAA championships. Kid from Jersey, Frankie Edgar. How has he only had 35 fights in that amount of time? Now, he makes the UFC, Frankie does. Think about this. In his 7th fight, he beat Jim Miller. Everyone knows Jim Miller, one of the toughest dudes out there. To go 6-0. Reality Fighting 14 in November of 2006, and then UFC 67. I almost said 267. UFC 67 against Tyson Griffin, February 3rd, 2007, in the fight of the night. No surprise for Frankie Edgar. He lost to Gray Maynard in April of 2008. 2 more fights of the night, and then he beats BJ Penn for the lightweight title, defended it against BJ Penn, retained it against Gray Maynard, defended it again against Gray Maynard, retained it in a split draw, defended it with a win. Lost it to Benson Henderson, lost the rematch. This is in 2012, lost the unanimous decision and a split decision. Tries to move up to 45, featherweight debut, February 2nd of 2013, unanimous decision loss to Jose Aldo. Then how about this? You want to talk about another guy who's been around a long time, UFC 162 in Las Vegas. Now, UFC 162, that was July 6th of 2013. That was the Weidman Silva fight. I mean, that you look back at that card, he beat Charles Oliveira. All right, and after that, he beat BJ Penn, Cub Swanson, Uriah Faber, Chad Mendez before he lost to Aldo again. Beats Jeremy Stevens, beats Yair Rodriguez, loses to Brian Ortega. First time he was ever knocked out in 2018, beginning of the end for Frankie Edgar. Beats Cub Swanson, loses to Max Holloway by unanimous decision. Loses to the Zombie. Beats Pedro Munoz by split decision, and then loses to Sanhagen and Vera. He's fought a who's who of everyone, Frankie Edgar. How do you not love this guy? Man, that UFC 162 card where he beat Charles Oliveira, that was the co-main event. Dubronx was the co-main against Frankie at featherweight back in 2013. That was my first real big event covering the UFC. I was on Radio Row. We interviewed everyone. I got Ronda, I got Benson, I got Weidman, I got Chuck Liddell, everybody that week. And that fight card, man, you had Edson Barbosa's leg kick TKO against Aviello Oliveira. You had Andrew Craig and Chris Lieben in the prelims main event. That was a war. Swanson and Seaver were on that card. Mark Munoz and Tim Bosch. That's how long ago this was. Tim Kennedy and Roger Gracie. Edgar and Oliveira, and Weidman and Silva won. That was not the snapped leg. That was the left hook that caught Anderson Silva and his showboating and knocked him out. But people forget Weidman was doing really well in that fight wrestling. He had taken the Chael Sonnen blueprint. That's what gets so tough as a champion, and Izzy's facing this right now. Think about this, right? Izzy's facing this right now. the blueprints are out there. Look, Pereira's already beaten him twice, but he's not, and he's training with Glover Teixeira in Connecticut, as is Dominic Reyes, by the way. Dominic Reyes, Glover Teixeira, and Pereira, Alex Pereira. That's a hell of a camp. Think about those three dudes going at it every day, right? Dominic Reyes, Alex Pereira, and Glover Teixeira. Glover's got the rematch against Prochazka coming up December 10th in Vegas. You got these Pereira's on this card, Reyes making his return on this card. But the blueprint is out there. Look, Pereira's beaten him twice, but of course it's MMA. I mean, you're in Glover Teixeira's facility, you're doing jiu-jitsu, and you're doing it a lot in that facility, okay? So anyone who thinks Pereira's not training jiu-jitsu like a savage beast day in and day out, okay? Probably, I'm going to take a guess. I don't know, but haven't seen much grappling from Izzy. His defense is really good, but man, if this comes down to just a striking match, don't you feel great if you're Pereira? But getting back to my point about champions, and Jones has faced this, and Silva has faced this, and GSP. I was talking about Silva and Weidman, right? We had seen Chael Sonnen's blueprint in Brazil against Anderson Silva. That was Weidman's game plan for the most part. And Weidman was a beast back then. He beat Machida in a 5-round war. And I'm talking peak Machida. Even though it was 185, Machida dropping down. It was peak Machida. That was a great fight, too. That was International Fight Week 2014, Weidman and Machida. God, I'm getting old, man. But when you've been champion for a while and you fought every type of fighter, you fought the wrestlers, you fought the strikers, you fought the guys who can mix it up really well, and everybody can now. It's a lot different than it was. You fought the Muay Thai fighters, you fought the jiu-jitsu guys. And just about every single style, you've been tested. You've been faced with that type of style. And anyone who does really well against you, Jan Blachowicz, for example, Yoel Romero, even though that was a dog shit fight. I mean, when someone does well against you with a particular style, other fighters who have that style start there with their preparations, their coaches, their teams, and they go from there. They put their own spin on it, their own little strengths and, their matchups, their individual fighter. But when the blueprint's out there, man, you have to keep growing and keep adapting and keep evolving. That is not easy. RMG, I am with you, bro. I am all the way in on that one. It is to me as well. Isn't Machida like 50? I mean, come on, it's a while ago. They're talking about Jon Jones, right? I mean, this guy cleaned out 3 eras of light heavyweights. No matter what you think about Jon Jones, the Legends era of Rampage, Rashad, Machida, Shogun, who he won the title from. The second generation of light heavyweights cleaned out by Jones, his contemporaries, his peers, the Gustafsons, the Cormiers, the St. Preux, all those guys. And then Santos, Dominic Reyes, 3 generations of light heavyweights cleaned out by Bones Jones, the greatest of all time. Spann versus Reyes, fight of the night sleeper. I'm with you. Denial. 218. I'm with you. Machida, a free agent again if Pereira doesn't make it. Denial says Izzy's titty always pops up during weight cuts due to the body's chemicals trying to rebalance from the draining effects of the cut. That's one way of looking at it. That's not the way a lot of other people look at it, but I'm not saying I look at it either way. As a matter of fact, I don't even want to look at it. Have you seen it? I don't want to look at it. UFC forced to put a boring lady fight on every pay-per-view. You think that Esparza and Weili are going to be boring, RMG? I mean, Carla's going to want to take it to the ground. She took the will and the spirit from Rose Namajunas. Rose Namajunas looked afraid to engage toward the end of that fight. So cautious. She cost herself. She did not let him fly. Thug Rose took a lot of heat for losing that fight, but not for just losing it the way that she did. But a lot of that was Esparza, man. You don't want to get in there and tangle with her. That hurts. I mean, once you've been hurt in a fight, I mean, look, as fans, we just want these fighters to keep going forward like robots. And we see it so many times from so many people where they just keep getting blasted and they just keep coming back. But you know what? Not everybody does. There's a certain thing inside our minds as human beings. When you're getting hit, you're like, screw this, man. I'm not going back in there. But it's very hard for fighters. No, Zebo, Alex has not weighed in yet. Thank you, Denial. Appreciate that. Hope you guys are having fun watching the official weigh-ins from Nueva York. UFC 281, Madison Square Garden, tomorrow night. Bright lights, big city. 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. We are live on MMA Weekly, powered by NordVPN and Pristine Auction. Very excited to be working with NordVPN. I mean, just for obvious reasons, right? The safe browsing, all your information not being taken all the time. You know, I had 280 attempts last week. It's unbelievable. If you're a sports fan, fight fan, you're never going to miss a live stream. The servers are everywhere. You still go through your ISP, right? But your internet service provider, and I'm just learning the world of VPNs. This is really fascinating because I was always the guy, just get online, go out there. Who cares if the Chinese have your information? You're never going to China. You're never going to be a government official. No one's ever going to care if they have your information because no one's ever going to do anything with it because you're nobody who they would want to do anything with. But you never know, right? You never know. Got to be safe in this world. 280 attempts last week to hack me, all right? Social security numbers, passwords, all the things we have in our computers, our phones, all our devices, right? They're safe. You still go through your ISP. But if you don't have something like NordVPN, you have an ISP number, right? That's how you've seen it in criminal cases in courts. They find out where you are with your unique number and your address, your IP address with your computer, right? Well, Nord, they can't do that. And they can't track where it comes from. And all that information still goes into your computer and out from it while you're online. But with NordVPN, it's encrypted. The ISP can't even figure it out. People can't hack you on that end. It's bad enough they're trying to get in your computer, but then they get in your servers and it's unbelievable. So if you're trying to build a company and you have people working remotely, NordVPN has great systems for that. Secure, sensitive information, big companies, big money, big dollars, big contracts, all safe with NordVPN. Your browser history, safe with NordVPN. You can even relate the integration to your content. Makes you more authentic. Explore what you, your content, and your audience have in common with the features and benefits of NordVPN. Tap into what makes you unique. Be casual, funny, and serious. Do whatever you want online. You're protected by NordVPN. And right now, you can grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/Greece, Grease, nordvpn.com/Greece to get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan, plus 4 additional months for free. For free. Think of all that protection, right? Trojan's not giving you 4 months free. NordVPN is. It's completely risk-free, too, with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. 4 additional months for free on top of the huge discount with the 30-day money-back guarantee at nordvpn.com/GRIES. The descriptions, everything you need to know, and the links are in the description as well as pinned in the chat. There you go. Alex Pereira yet to weigh in. We just were talking about it in the chat room. Thank you for being with us, by the way. What are you thinking about that main event? Let's get you going in the chat. What do you think is going to happen in that fight? Adesanya, the preeminent champion, the man on the top of the mountain. And look, it hasn't been close for him at middleweight. You can say some of the fights got boring. Vittori 2. You know, you could talk about that Yoel Romero, who's not even a human being. You can talk about that fight. But for the most part, Izzy's been close to, if not the most dominating champion in the UFC, right? In this era, at this point in time, right? You look at the belts, you look at the champions. I'm looking at the rankings right now. Who's been a more dominating champion than Israel Adesanya? Figueiredo has not been champion as long. Sterling hasn't. Obviously, Volkanovski's his teammate sometimes. Islam just got the belt. Edwards just got the belt. Yuri, not that long. Why are we looking at a camera up there? And then we got a headshot. I think that must be Cam. So those of you who can't see the man behind the camera, probably a power outage and is changing the battery or something. But now you know who Cam is. Cam just lost his aura of what's the word I'm looking for? Like, he was exposed. If he had NordVPN and he was on his computer surfing, he wouldn't have been exposed like he was there on his camera. There's Mark Ratner. What a great book he has, by the way. Interviewed him over the summer, been reading his book. It's not a big read, not a heavy read, but talk about decades running the commission, the fights he ran from ringside. And I thought the Mike Tyson fights with Holyfield and the one bite in his ear, and I thought that would be the one that he remembered the most. He talked about the parachutist that came into the Riddick Bowe fight. Ratner said his head was down ringside. He didn't even see the guy land. That's hilarious, man. Sitting right there, didn't even see him land. The parachutist. The Riddick Bowe fight at Caesar's Palace. But who else? I mean, Valentina and Amanda. And Amanda lost her title at 35 anyway to Pena. There's no one to fight her at 45. Francis Ngannou, a dominant champion. Stipe was the great one there for a while. But other than Valentina Shevchenko, and you put her there too, and nipping at his heels is Volkanovski, Israel's been the guy. He's been the champion for a long time. For a long time. Longest running champ. On the men's side, he's a dancer. He's an anime guy. One of those first real young personalities to come in and, change the game. From that standpoint, he has that one loss to Blachowicz. 15 knockouts in MMA. First UFC fight was against Rob Wilkinson. He was 11-0, TKO'd Wilkinson, knees and punches at UFC 221 in Perth, Australia. Looking for local fighters, no doubt. Then he beats Marvin Vettori on the Poirier-Gaethje card. Actually fought Marvin Vettori twice in Glendale, Arizona. How about that? I was at both of them, Poirier versus Gaethje and Adesanya versus Vettori. That was on the Diaz-Edwards card. I'd love to see Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards run that back. It's not going to happen. It would have if Nate beat Hamzat. But how about this? The wins that Adesanya has put together in his UFC career, when you think about it, he's cleaned it all out. Vettori twice, Anderson Silva, Derek Brunson, Brad Tavares, no slouch. Kelvin Gastelum in that interim title fight classic back in 2019. Whitaker twice, Yoel Romero. Vettori again, Whitaker again, Jared Cannonier. Cannonier did not look good at all against Adesanya. At all. What a great champion, but it could all come crashing down against his former kickboxing nemesis, Alex Pereira. Now, Adesanya, remember, 30-5 as a kickboxer. 2 of those losses to Alex Pereira. Only one man has ever knocked out Israel Adesanya. He's lost by split decision. He's lost by unanimous decision as a young fighter in 2014 to a Canadian and a German, Marcus and Verlinden. He ripped off a whole bunch of wins in a row, 12 in a row, before Alex Pereira beat him by unanimous decision at Glory of Heroes 1 in Shenzhen, China. And then he ripped off a whole bunch more wins, 6 in a row, before he lost to Jason Wilness by unanimous decision in LA at Glory 37 in 2017. And then he lost to, in January, and then March of 2017, he lost to Alex Pereira again. Left hook knockout in Sao Paulo. 75-5 as a kickboxer, 23-1 as a mixed martial artist. 98-6. 98-6 is the combat sports record for Israel Adesanya. 2 of those losses, 33% for you math majors, have come against Alex Pereira, who has yet to weigh in. And by the way, he's got plenty of time. what is it, 7:46 Pacific, 10:46 Eastern, unofficially. We can't agree on anything these days, even the time, so I don't know. But 8:46 my time in Arizona, so he's got an hour and 14 minutes. Does Alex Pereira. Give you the weights again in just a minute. Tell you about Pristine Auction first, because Alex Pereira, Ryan Spann, Michael Trezano, and Nikolai Negumirianu. There we go. Still to weigh in.
All right. All right, let me figure this out. I'm going to try to... yeah. Remember I told you I gave you a full
I
warning?
wonder how Zhang Weili will handle that wrestling of Esparza, because she did really well with it against Rose. It's not Esparza. Esparza's a great wrestler, and of course Zhang trained a lot with Henry Cejudo at Fight Ready 2 fights ago, but she's gone back to Phuket, Thailand, to train there for most of that last camp and now this one. The Fight Ready guys and girls, I know they wanted to get her in there for a full camp and never did. But the improvements that she was able to make when Jones was there and Figueiredo was there and Cejudo was working with all of, I mean, it turned into a huge just super camp at Fight Ready. Pitbull brothers flying around there. Jon Jones, Yuri Prohashka, Figueiredo, and Zhang Weili. I walked in and Valentina. We're all there on one day when I walked in. And I thought Zhang Weili would be the girl if Rose didn't beat her that second title fight. Hey, rip off a couple more, put on some pounds, and get up there because she hits like a Mack truck and fight Valentina. But now Valentina's got her own challenger in that division, which is going to be – that's going to be – I mean, I think they might end up fighting 3 times, man. I mean, it was – Santos is just – that was a tough one last time, Valentina, right? MMA Weekly's live coverage of the UFC 281 official weigh-ins. We're just pumped to be thrilled. Pumped to be thrilled and thrilled to be pumped to be teaming up with Pristine Auction on today's coverage of UFC 281. If we can get that Pristine Auction logo up there, Scott, so everyone can see what we're so excited about. We are giving away, do you have that Poirier picture of the Poirier print that you can throw up there, Scott? We're giving away a framed Dustin Poirier autograph print from Pristine Auction. Details are coming up. Scott must have taken a bathroom break. PristineAuction.com is the most trusted sports memorabilia auction site with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. You see their logo on the bottom left of the screen right there. Auctions on PristineAuction.com start at just $1, and each day there are over 1,000 autographed items available, so you win. Signed, autographed, authentic signatures at affordable prices. That's right. You don't have to win the prize that we have right now in order to win at Pristine Auction. You can win your bids, right? Just last week, an autographed Francis Ngannou glove sold for $49, less than $50 for the Predator signed glove. He's coming back with a vengeance. I predict that, by the way. Ngannou, not that far away from what I'm hearing in a few months, and we're going to see the Predator back in the cage. And by the way, Don Fry's the Predator. We got to come up with new nicknames. No more Iron Mike for Mike Chandler. Come on, dude. It's Mike Tyson. There's only one. Anyway. And Iron Mike Sharp, WWF 1980s. Anyway, deals like this are happening. I bet they have something from him on Pristine Auction. Deals like this are happening all the time on PristineAuction.com, and they have just about every fighter you could want. Patty the Batty, Conor McGregor, Meatball Molly, Bones Jones, so many more. Every item on PristineAuction.com comes with a certificate of authenticity from the industry's most reputable authenticators. Upgrade your collection of signed memorabilia today. Get $10 off your first item one using the code Dustin for Dustin Poirier. Man, I would have made that diamond, but that's just me. So here's your chance. You got a picture of that giveaway, Scott? Let's throw that up there, that picture of that Dustin Poirier. We've got that. It's in our email, that picture. And while you do that, I'll let everybody know that it's your chance to win a framed Dustin Poirier autograph print. It's a picture. We're going to pull it up here in a second. It's when he beat Conor McGregor, their second fight. The first one of this more modern era, January 2021 in Abu Dhabi, when Dustin Poirier dropped Conor McGregor against the side of the cage and won by TKO. He turned around and looked at the crowd, the look on his face, he signed that picture. That's the one you can win. All you have to do is head to PristineAuction.com, click register, and there it is. on the top of the page and sign up using our registration code Dustin to be entered in the giveaway. Links are in the description. Look at that signature from the Diamond. By the way, the official hot sauce of the UFC, Dustin Poirier. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He doesn't like being the co-main. He doesn't think Michael Chandler's on his level. He doesn't like that loss against Stu Bronx. I see a focused, determined, all-time great pro in Dustin Poirier. I love Chandler. He's a former champ in Bellator. I don't think he's a UFC level champion. Love that picture, by the way, of Poirier. But I believe Dustin Poirier is your next lightweight champion. I don't know how he beats Islam. I think he can do it. I think he's the only guy in that division right now he's got the best shot to do it. How about that? But these guys are they're gonna have to wrestle, man. Poirier's he's gonna have to grapple. Gaethje's gonna have to wrestle. If they want to win the belt, you're not just gonna get in there, man. It's not 2010. You're not just gonna get in there and slug it out and win that belt in that division with Stu Bronx and Islam in there. You're not. That is the elite grappling division, along with welterweight in the UFC right now. It's not happening. It's not happening. You're not slugging it out and winning belts in that division. Gaethje's not doing it. Poirier's not doing it. They're not doing it. You have got to get in there and be a mixed martial artist. You have got to use the cage. You have got to use the Muay Thai and the clinch. You have got to use your wrestling, your grappling, your ground and pound. They were afraid to go to the ground against Stu Bronx Oliveira, and I'm putting words in their mouth. I don't want to call Poirier and Gaethje and those guys afraid. I guess I just did. Sorry, guys. They were hesitant to go to the ground with Oliveira, and when they did not go to the ground after they rocked him and knocked him down, they let him recover. Islam did no such thing and pounded him out. So is this that Oliveira is that good? He's great at recovering. I think those guys could have and should have finished him themselves. I'm just going to say it. I'm back off the Oliveira hype train. How about that? Wasn't on it for so long. I got to give Jeff Kane credit, though. My boy Jeff Kane. Shout out to Jeff with MMAWeekly.com. When we did all our shows together for that period of time there before he took on the role, the editor of the site, and doesn't have time to do anything but work and sleep and be a father. Jeff talked about Carla Esparza making that run, saying he wanted to see her get another title shot, and she could win it. Guess what? She did. Jeff talked about Stu Bronx Oliveira being as legit as you could possibly be. He was. And there goes the DC cover again. Who's this? This has got to be Pereira, right? Like, it doesn't have to be. It's not like he'd be the only fighter in this predicament. And I don't know if it's a predicament. It's a bit of a situation. We can get Jada Pinkett Smith with our vocab here in our descriptions. It was an entanglement. No, it was an affair. It was a situationship. Well, we got a situation going on here. That one's tall. Remember you couldn't see Zhang Weili? She's like raising her arms up. I kind of think that...
All right, next fighter to the scale, taking part in his first UFC title fight, the number 4 ranked middleweight contender.
Here's Oliveira. Pereira. Alex Pereira. There he is. He's got to be right at 85 or lower. Oh, 184.6 for Pereira. Alex Pereira. I'm going with John Anderson's pronunciation. Everyone goes Alex Pereira. Bunch of white people. Alex Pereira makes weight. There he goes. We have a title fight at the top of the card. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? All you doubters in the chat, you know you got that time, right? They still have an hour and 6 minutes. Just made weight. There you go. That means all we have left are Ryan Spann, Michael Trezano, and Nikolai Negumuriano. I know I'm going to get that one corrected by Mr. Anik for me when he comes out. Usually I have them all. I research it, but I could not get the correct pronunciation of his name. Shout out to the UFC security guys, by the way. Not an easy job for them. Well, they're going to put it back up.
All right, next fighter to the scale is the 12th ranked UFC light heavyweight contender, Ryan Superman Spann.
Man, that's a tough fight for Dominic Reyes being gone that long. He's got to fight Ryan Spann. This sport is brutal and unforgiving. man, Ryan Spann's a tough dude. Everyone is in the UFC, but you know what I'm saying.
206.6, the official weight for
Spann
Ryan
is 6/10 of a
Spann.
pound over.
0.6 ounces over the divisional
0.6 ounces
limits.
over. So he's going to have, it's not a title fight, so he only got one shot. So he's going to lose a portion of his purse here.
4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you,
All right, next fighter to the scale, competing in the UFC's featherweight division, Michael
Right back up to it.
Trizano.
Trizano, a run of 3 here. Are they going to give us 4 and close it out? Or are we going to be waiting for Nikolai? We'll see after Trizano. I mean, you've been exhaustingly trying to cut weight for, I mean, you've been really all week, but really, really cutting for 24 hours. And, yeah, I mean, this is, you're exhausted. You got nothing in the tank. You got literally
147.6.
147.6
the official weight for Michael Trizano.
for Trizano. So that's going to be it for him. And these, you know, you just give up at this point. But the thing is, when you drain yourself to that level to do something, and you fail in that endeavor, whatever that endeavor is, whatever it is, you fail. You put that much effort and you put that much sacrifice into it, and you actually do some potentially damaging things to yourself. I just see Trizano there, and then you miss by that much. Look at him. This guy's obviously done everything he can. Something went wrong scientifically. Something was off by a minute or a half a minute or a millisecond or whatever the timing is. Body didn't respond the way they thought.
Light heavyweight division, Nikolai Negu-Medianu.
Negu-Medianu. There you go, John. Thank you. Nikolai Negu-Medianu. And this is going to be it. How about that? Unbelievable. It bees like this. These big runs on the scale.
We did.
Nikolai taking on Carlos Ulberg in the first fight of the night at 205. Let's see.
206 even.
Oh,
206, the official weight for Nikolai Negu-Medianu.
All right, so Trizano doesn't make it and Spann doesn't make it. They're the only 2 fighters who don't make weight. But the title fights are official. The whole main card's official. The Frankie Edgar retirement fight's official. Got a big, big card coming your way in New York City this weekend, tomorrow night.
All right, thank you all for being here for the official weigh-in. We will see you for the
Official weigh-ins are in the books.
4 p.m. Almost.
For UFC 281. Trying to find the time. Where are we here? The time for the ceremonial weigh-ins coming up a little bit later this afternoon. Where are we at here? Dun, 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 dun. Let me see. Almost there, guys. Bear with me. Where are we at? Nope, not there. Where are we? Come on, Jim. Right there, right there, right there. Nope, nope, nope. Where'd it go? Oh, it's in here somewhere. I'll find it. But we have the ceremonial weigh-ins. There it is. PR and events schedule. I have so many dang emails. All right. So we have the ceremonial weigh-ins coming your way. Here's the schedule right here. The press conference, the media day. Here we go. Friday. You ain't got no job. You ain't got to do. All right, here we go. Radio City Music Hall. How about that? So that's 4 to 4:30 Eastern. So we're at 1 to 1:30 Pacific and 2 to 2:30 Mountain. So there you go. Wait, is it 1 to 1:30? Yeah, we got it. Okay, there we go. 4 to 4:30 Eastern for the ceremonial weigh-ins, right? So you got UFC 281 tomorrow night, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. And we are really pumped to be working with NordVPN. Let me tell you what, NordVPN is unbelievable. They have a huge deal right now for you, and I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute. But look, you're protected from ads, trackers, malware. I mean, just you name it, right? I mean, you're protected from malicious URLs. You're protected from cyber threats, from viruses, from people getting at your data, secure and private access to the internet, protecting all your devices, fast, stable connection from anywhere. Just ping it anywhere in the world. You can stream with crystal clear quality and never miss an event. You can do it on every type of device. You can do it all over the world with servers everywhere. That is NordVPN, the peace of mind that comes with a secure browsing experience, and not just that, crystal clear and super fast and everything you want out of a VPN. And right now, you can grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/grease, GRIES, nordvpn.com/grease to get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan, plus 4 additional months for free. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. That's right, 30 days your money back, 4 additional months for free on top of the huge discount with the peace of mind that comes with NordVPN. NordVPN.com/grease, again, is where you need to go to take advantage of that deal. Also want to say thank you to PristineAuction.com. You can win the framed Dustin Poirier autograph print and get $10 off your first item one. He's punching Conor McGregor. He signed it. I think Poirier is going to be the most impressive fighter on this card. I would be willing to bet every dollar I have in my bank account right now that Dustin Poirier wins a bonus. He wins a bonus this fight card. Poirier Chandler could be fight of the night. It could be performance of the night. It could be a finish. But Dustin Poirier will decimate Michael Chandler. More predictions coming later. Of course, follow us all day long on social media with MMA Weekly and all week long. UFC 281 in New York. More on that in just a minute. But you can enter to win that framed Poirier autograph print. You get $10 off your first item one with the registration code Dustin when you sign up at https://www.pristineauction.com/register. All the info is in the description. It's in the pinned comments, and it is all over the YouTube stream that you are watching right now that we're about to wrap up. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease, Cage Side Grease on social media. Follow us on all our platforms, MMAWeekly.com. Stay on that website all week long from New York City. Thanks to Cam on the camera from New York. And again, we'll be on Instagram. We'll be on TikTok. You'll be see us on Twitter and Facebook as well throughout the week from New York City as we continue to cover the huge fight card that always is the UFC in the city that never sleeps. Until 1 p.m. Eastern. Actually, no, it's 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific. 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific. We will be back with the ceremonial weigh-ins for UFC 281, 10 Eastern p.m. tomorrow night. 7 Pacific, we come to you live with a live stream reaction show hosted by yours truly. Until then, for Scott Peterson, remotely producing and on site, Cam on the cam, I'm Jim Greasehaber, call me Greasy, and thanks for being here for the official weigh-ins for UFC 281. The title fights are official, and we are all over it all week long. Keep it right here, along with keeping your game tight and your mind right. Thanks for watching MMA Weekly. We'll be back soon.
Hey, gang, there's some food out in the hallway, FYI.